Hello everyone. Do you ever get that where you start speaking, completely forget what you're going to say? I'm going to shut the door. My animals keep coming in and out. Welcome to Tarot Between Sisters. My name is Lady Phoebe. There's a little pug head right there. I hope everyone's doing well. Let's do just a little general oracle reading today. Just see what happens. See what people have to say. Or what Spirit has to say to you people. I just got back from a wedding like literally half an hour ago. And I'm like a little bit tired. I'm like a little bit like, oh, we visited a lot this weekend. It was awesome on way for the weekend, maid of honor. Like fantastic wedding, fantastic time. I'm a little bit sleepy. But I'm like, Phoebe, you got a full face of makeup on. Sit down, try to do some videos. So let's see what happens here. New life. Oh, okay. Yes, yes, yes. Round and round. Okay. New life is the first card I got. And I'll tell you, I have been feeling this big time. So I did the video the other day about integration of healing. So like once the healing happens or once you've let go of a trauma and healed a trauma, there's like this period where it's like, how is this going to integrate into my life? How am I going to make decisions differently than I did before? Because now, I don't know, there's more thought put into it. Like even we got Thinker, like there's more thought put into it. When you tend to make a decision just based out of trauma, there doesn't seem to be a lot of thought. It's more action, right? There's something that triggers your brain to deal or to start thinking with that trauma coping mechanism rather than like sitting and actually thinking about things and like, how is this going to play out? How could I do this differently? How could I do this better? So this new life, like I'm feeling big time. I have noticed just personal experience after letting go of this trauma. And honestly, like I think I've let go of a big chunk of it now, but just like through some contemplation and some thinking, I've been sitting there. I have been thinking like, I definitely got rid of what I'm supposed to of it right now, but I'm thinking that there's like still like, I don't want to get sleepy on it, I guess is my point. I don't want to just be like, oh, that's it, it's forgiven and it's gone. And then not be willing to actually look if there is anything left that I need to just deal with and whatever. I just want to be vigilant kind of because I want to let this go. Like it has been pivotal since I've even let it go. Just noticing like the trauma made me think that I was not good enough and that I needed to be this version of something that people wanted me to be. And so that causes like people pleasing, right? Like compete? No. Told you I was tired. Complete people pleasing. And doubting yourself. And just, it goes into a whole myriad of things. So since I have had that realization that of like, oh my God, I've healed a big chunk of that and let go of that, I have noticed that I'm still in the habit. So like that round and round, it's almost like you're in the habit of thinking a certain way. So that habit is going to come up again. So my first reaction is to be like, oh, doubt, or I need to prove myself, or I need to sell myself, right? Like I need you to believe that I'm the person that you need me to be, right? But then I'm like, hey, I'm not going to respond back. Like there was a situation, it's like, I'm not going to respond back. I'm just going to sit and I'm just going to let this simmer, and then I'm going to think about it a little bit. I don't need to respond with that trauma response. Like I don't need to. I don't feel like I'm in that anymore. I don't feel like I'm in this reactive state anymore. I'm like taking time. And I'm like, no, you know what? I'm just going to think about this for a second. So I sit and I think about it, and then after I've gotten past that just default mode of that habit thinking of trauma, then that kind of cleared away, and then there was that quieted down, and then all of a sudden there's this very loving and very heartfelt response that I was like, yes. And it was not trying to sell myself to make you believe that I'm the person that you need me to be. it was not based on self-doubt, so I needed to up talk myself, right? Like, and it wasn't about pleasing somebody. It was about, okay, what is the best for everyone concerned, including myself, right, in the situation. And then spirit comes in and like gives me that guidance. And I'm like, wow, that is not something that I've experienced before, because there's always, like I said, been that quick reaction to try to be the person that person wanted me to be. So there was that quick, that default mode, that round and round thinking that, nope, we're going to do this. I'm going to convince you that I'm good enough and that I'm whatever. So it was just very nice to have that feeling of quietness. And that's what I felt actually the most since this has happened, like quietness. I didn't realize that my habitual thinking would still come up, which of course it would, because it's like you make a habit, it's going to take a little bit to break that habit. So that's kind of been what it's been feeling like as it's been integrating, is that I do feel like this is brand new life. Like I feel like there's just this brand new thing coming about. And I just need to make sure that I break that cycle of the pattern thinking of trauma, of the trauma response, and just put some thought into it. Like, I have time to think about things. I don't need to respond immediately. There's time. You can always step back and take time and observe things and get in touch with the quiet center and just be able to, how does this feel right now, right? Like, there's always time for that. And if we think that there's not time, that's your ego. Ego works in time, lives in time. With spirit, there is no time. So if you're ever feeling like things need to get answered, it needs to happen right now, there's that pressure of the timing. That's very ego. So that's just kind of what I've been feeling. It's cool that these cards came up, because it means that I needed to update you guys on what's happening or how the integration is happening. And it's a very cool process. And I think I've done healing before, and I think I've gone through things before, but I wasn't so aware of it. And so I wasn't able to actually notice the steps and document the steps, right? I've just done it, and then you just kind of feel better about something. You're like, oh, it feels great. And then you move on. This has been something that I've really kind of, because it's been such a big thing that I healed, that it does affect every aspect of my life. Because when I was 3, I made up my whole personality based on that trauma. So now I'm like, my personality is like rewriting itself almost. And what's coming out of it, it's not like, it's just a very, I don't know, it's just a very happy, kind of peaceful, quiet place to be. And it's just lovely. And I'm really enjoying it. And it's not like I'm like totally different. Like, no, I'm still weird, and like I say the wrong thing sometimes, and I got a lot of energy sometimes, and sometimes I don't, right? Like, it's not that, but it's that, what are my intentions behind everything? Is my intention that I need you to like me because then I'll feel rejected and abandoned, or I don't want you to abandon me? That's a very desperate ego-based intention. Or is my intention, you know what, I want to meet this person and I hope we get along because then we can enjoy each other's company. And if they don't like me for whatever reason, that's okay. It's not a personal thing, right? Like, I know it feels very personal, but it's not a personal thing. Sometimes people's energies, they're in a different place in their life, and so they just don't vibrate the same. That's okay. So it's just been a very interesting, wonderful thing to kind of experience. And like I said, to be able to actually take the time to step back a little bit and just go, no, you know what? I'm gonna leave this on the back burner for a second, and I'm just gonna see what feelings come up and how. I don't want to be reactive anymore. I want to be able to think about things and give the best response, or the best of that person as well, right? Because me giving this trauma response to this person isn't doing either of us really any good, right? It's not doing any of us any good. So that is what I have for you today in this reading. Thank you guys for being here. Love you guys. Choose love, then choose love again. Be compassionate to yourself and be compassionate to others. Mwah! Bye.